You could be forgiven for thinking this article was more than a decade old, but no, it's brand new. Toyota bets on new line of combustion engines in challenge to Tesla. The Japanese horse and buggy maker unveils latest fuel-based technology to be used alongside batteries in fake electric vehicles, aka hybrids. Toyota has unveiled plans for a new generation of internal combustion engines. Yep, that's right, folks. Toyota investing, literally, by the way, time, energy, importantly, money, resources in developing a new generation of internal combustion engines, the equivalent of a slightly faster horse, when the entire industry is being upended. Betting on a continued need for older technologies, even as car buyers shift towards Tesla and other electric vehicle makers. Now, before we get any further, what we can see on screen now, focusing on the green here, electric vehicle sales as a percent of all new vehicles sold over the last decade. In 2023, more than 11% of all new vehicles sold globally were electric. Now, we're going to ignore the fake electric vehicles because they're going away, just like the internal combustion engine vehicle, because they're the same fucking thing. It's very misleading for people to focus on sales of fake electric vehicles, also known as plug-ins, because what's happening is companies like Toyota think to themselves, making electric vehicles profitably at scale is going to be hard. You know what we could do? Keep making internal combustion engine vehicles at scale and trick some of our loyal customers into buying internal combustion engine vehicles by sticking a tiny vibrator-sized battery inside them and calling them hybrids. That'll work for a couple of years, and that's exactly what's happening. I'm not sure Toyota, or at least any of the people making decisions at that company, have any idea what compounding is, what exponential growth is, or what disruption is. Remember I said that over 11%, let's just round it down to 10% of all new vehicles sold in 2023 were electric. Actually electric. That's after we've deleted the fake ones. In 2017, we were roughly 1%. So from 2017 to 2023, there's been more than a 10 times increase in the number of electric vehicles sold. Now, you don't need to be a math genius to realize that if you've gone from essentially 1% here, we'll just use some nice round numbers, to, again, deleting the fake vehicles, to 10% here, how many more order of magnitude increases do we need to see before electric vehicles are 100% of the new vehicle market? The answer would be one more 10x. We've seen a 10x already from 2017 to 2023. I don't think Toyota has figured this out. In a rare joint appearance, the heads of Toyota, Mazda and Subaru, who between them have an IQ adding up to approximately 100, pledged to continue investing in fuel-based technology, a move that would also benefit hundreds of suppliers struggling with the shift to electric vehicles. Quote, in an era when the development of battery electric vehicle technology is accelerating, I mean, at least they recognize that, there is a new role we can pursue for the internal combustion engine as well. Yeah, that role is stop fucking making it, abandon ship, Toyota's chief executive said, noting that the engines were designed to be used alongside tiny little batteries in hybrid vehicles, aka internal combustion engine vehicles, aka the equivalent of improving the horse by combining it with an automobile, as you can see on screen now. This is how much sense a hybrid vehicle makes. None. From an engineering point of view, not only do you need everything that an internal combustion engine vehicle requires, because it is an internal combustion engine vehicle, but you also then, in addition, must do all the extra engineering for this thing to be able to run on a vibrator-sized battery for a few miles. It adds extra cost, expense, complexity, and for what? Why? What's the point? Why add this extra expense, this extra complexity, these extra points of failure, additional need for maintenance? Why would you do this? Why would you overly and unnecessarily complicate a product to sell to consumers when a vastly superior alternative, a pure electric vehicle, is not only viable, but increasingly so over time as costs come down, as there's new innovation? The answer, of course, is you would only do this if you're brain dead, and or you're actually low-key a genius who's realised your company's going bankrupt anyways, so you may as well use the next couple of years to trick a few loyal consumers who'll never buy a Toyota or a Subaru or whatever into buying one of your nice little horses carrying a car on its back until people realise that's a dumb fucking idea. Milk some short-term profits, then file for bankruptcy. Imagine if Apple sold a product that was not only an iPhone, which also included a camera built in, but in addition to that, they also taped an actual physical camera to the outside of the iPhone, right? This is how absurd the idea of a hybrid vehicle is. It makes no sense. There was a tiny window of time years ago when electric vehicles weren't viable, weren't economical, where you could make the argument for a hybrid. That was a decade and a half ago. Now it's just brain dead. There is no role for the internal combustion engine now that electric vehicles are widely available and becoming increasingly affordable over time as production scales up and new innovation in terms of manufacturing continues to occur, plus battery costs plummet. Toyota's commitment to internal combustion engine technology, which has traditionally relied upon petrol or diesel as fuel, comes as sales of fully electric cars have slowed, and according to the Financial Times, due to concerns about costs and insufficient charging networks, as opposed to sky-high interest rates, economic uncertainty, and the cyclical nature of the automotive industry itself. That has led to apparently a boom in demand for hybrids, prompting global rivals to increase investment in the models, which combine batteries and fuel engines. There ain't no boom in demand for hybrids. Remember this graphic we saw earlier? The proportion of hybrids versus electric vehicles sold, electric vehicles in green, the ratio remains extremely stable. Roughly 3/4 of the vehicles sold that are either electric or fake electric are real electric vehicles. And again, I have to stress, the reason that hybrids are selling at all is almost entirely down to the fact that there are loyal consumers of certain brands, especially those who want to signal to the world that they care about the environment, who think, Toyota make a hybrid. Hybrid's good for the environment. I'm going to buy a Toyota hybrid because I only ever buy a Toyota. This is causing a false signal in the data, which people are misinterpreting as any interest at all for hybrids. But what boom are we seeing here? No, it's a stable ratio for now. And again, this is going to drop off a cliff. You can fucking count on it. Come back in 5 years' time and watch what percent of all new vehicles sold are hybrid versus electric. Watch what happens to this ratio. Now, the idea that there's a supposed boom in demand for hybrids and the fact that this is apparently prompting legacy automotive companies to increase investment in hybrids. Bro. Again, translation, there's a boom for consumers who want a horse with a car on its back. Therefore, companies that make horses are doubling down on their investment in horse production. Sure, it'll be fine. Toyota said on Tuesday, its new engines should go into production around the time that the updated European Union emission regulations are due to be phased in from the end of 2026. That's right, Toyota with new internal combustion engines to enter production in 2026. Why are they... It's so insane to me that this company is spending any time, any resources at all, any energy on new internal combustion engines. I mean, 2026, it first goes into production. What are they doing? This is going to be an all-time lesson in fucking around and finding out. Toyota today, give or take, is the world's largest automotive manufacturer by units sold, and they're almost all internal combustion engines. Toyota's fall from grace is going to be all-time. From give or take 10 million vehicles a year to a fraction of that if they're lucky to still be in business toward the end of this decade. Everything's on fire, and they're like, I don't even see any smoke, bro. What are you talking about? Everything's fine. Although Toyota would not comment on its level of investment in the new engines, the group's chief technology officer did say that it was a, quote, magnitude smaller than the funding being poured into electric vehicles and battery development. Thank fuck. But again, why are they investing anything at all when this is existential? Perhaps an analogy. Just imagine that your home is currently on fire, a raging inferno. Option 1, immediately get the fuck out and make sure that you survive. Option 2, before I immediately escape and do my best to not end up burnt to a crisp, I might take this opportunity to first unload my dishwasher, then bag up and take out the trash, and then I'll get the fuck out of there. Toyota is taking the latter option here. I really just don't get it. Actually, they don't get it. Japan's biggest car maker has long been a proponent of hybrid vehicles and slower to adopt electric vehicles due to severe brain damage. And according to the author of this article, a stance that has been validated in recent months by soaring sales. Now, look, sorry. No, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Toyota's been chronically behind, embarrassingly behind on electric vehicles. Toyota previously had the world's best-selling vehicle until the world's best-selling vehicle became an electric vehicle produced by Tesla called the Model Y. Now, if Toyota, instead of being 10, 15 years too late to the fucking party, had instead moved aggressively toward electric vehicles, they could have had the world's best-selling vehicle and it could have been electric. Toyota has been embarrassed by Tesla. Now, it's important to understand, I really mean this. Toyota, in fact, could have done what Tesla is and will do. Toyota fumbled the football big time. In fact, probably going to go down as one of the all-time fuck-ups. Right up there with Kodak internally developing a digital camera and then shelving it because consumers don't want that. Allow me to refresh your memory. From the 30th of June, 2010. Just for context, I'm currently recording this in June 2024. A decade and a half later, Tesla Motors and Toyota Motor intend to work jointly on electric vehicle development, and Toyota Motor Company to invest in Tesla. Tesla and Toyota today announced that they intend to cooperate on the development of electric vehicles, parts and production systems, and engineering support. The two companies intend to form a specialist team to further those efforts. Toyota Motor Company has agreed to purchase $50 million of Tesla's common stock, issued in a private placement to close immediately subsequent to the closing of Tesla's currently planned initial public offering. By the way, it was disclosed that Toyota ended up having sold their entire position in Tesla by the end of 2016. As in, call it $14 a share. Had Toyota held that position, they would have seen more than a 10x return from that point. But I'm not here to roast the brain damage of letting go of a stake in... By the way, just to be clear, I was buying Tesla throughout 2016 and beyond. And Toyota at the same time that I was like, fuck dude, what an opportunity. Toyota's unloading their entire position. But I'm not going to troll them over their poor investment in Tesla, whatever. The real story here is how massively they fumbled the football with electric vehicles. At this point in time, in 2010 when this deal was announced, Tesla was a spec. A spec. They hadn't even IPO'd. They were a spec. And Toyota had a partnership. If they had any sense whatsoever, with greater resources, Toyota could have done what Tesla has gone on to do. Quote, I felt an infinite possibility about Tesla's technology and its dedication to mono-zukuri, which is Toyota's approach to manufacturing, said the Toyota president. Through this partnership, by working together with a venture business such as Tesla, Toyota would like to learn from the challenging spirit, quick decision making, oh, the irony, and flexibility that Tesla has. Well, apparently Toyota did not learn the lessons they were hoping to with this partnership. Decades ago, Toyota was also born as a venture business by partnering with Tesla. My hope, by the way, hope is not a strategy. My hope is that all Toyota employees will recall that venture business spirit and take on the challenges of the future. God damn, this shit has aged like milk, bro. This is the same fucking brain-dead company that's been saying consumers don't want electric vehicles. No, head in the sand. That's been Toyota since this. And now a quote from Musk on the partnership. Toyota is a company founded on innovation, quality, and commitment to sustainable mobility. It is an honor and a powerful endorsement of our technology that Toyota would choose to invest in and partner with Tesla. We look forward to learning and benefiting from Toyota's legendary engineering, manufacturing, and production expertise. Now, at the time of this quote, these were reasonable comments because, as I said, Tesla was a spec. They'd barely done shit. This was pre-IPO, pre-Model S. This was 2 years before the Model S. My, what a lot has happened since. So, let's continue. Toyota has, since its foundation in 1937, operated under the philosophy of contributing to the society through the manufacture of automobiles and made cars that satisfy its many customers around the world. Toyota introduced the first generation Prius hybrid vehicle in 1997 and produced approximately 2.5 million hybrids in the 12 years since. Keeping in mind, again, this was back in 2010. Last year, Toyota started the lease of Prius plug-in hybrids, which can be charged using an external power source such as a household electric outlet. The company also plans to introduce electric vehicles into the market by 2012. Same year, by the way, that Tesla's Model S first debuted. So if this were the plan of Toyota and they'd followed through, the same year that Tesla drops the Model S, Toyota, if they had any sense, would have also dropped an equivalent Toyota high-performance electric vehicle to drive costs down. A couple of years later, they'd unveil their next-gen mass-market vehicle, the equivalent of the Model 3, then the Model Y, and they would have the world's best-selling electric vehicle and vehicle of any form, but they don't. On to the last paragraph. Tesla's goal is to produce increasingly affordable electric cars to mainstream buyers, relentlessly driving down the cost of electric vehicles. Should we maybe, I don't know, let some of the very smart people who discuss Tesla and cry about Tesla driving costs down and reducing prices, should we let them know that Tesla back in 2010 said this? Call me crazy, but I think this is a pretty clear statement of Tesla's intent, and they seem to have been doing what they said they were going to do, which is, again, to produce increasingly affordable electric cars to mainstream buyers, relentlessly driving down the cost of electric vehicles. By the way, at the time of this partnership, Tesla had delivered more than 1,000 Roadsters. So back to this absurd comment in the Financial Times article. After noting that Toyota had been super slow to adopt electric vehicles, the author claims that this stance has been validated in recent months by soaring hybrid sales. You idiots! What would have happened if Toyota, having seen the success of Tesla in the early days with the huge stakes, said, you know what, let's acquire the company? Or alternatively, let's just copy exactly what the fuck they're doing and collaborate and partner. Or alternatively, say, hey, Tesla, you're very good at making these electric powertrains and batteries, which we've been using in our electric RAV4s. Let's just keep this arrangement going and you can make all the shit that goes inside our Toyota branded electric vehicles. That'd be great. Thanks. They have absolutely fucked up big time here. Both the batteries for electric vehicles and internal combustion engines are important, said Toyota, adding that Toyota would continue to invest in both technologies and prioritise whichever would help it hit emissions targets. That's right, yep. Toyota ignoring market forces and claiming that they'll just do whatever daddy wants them to in terms of emissions targets. They're so screwed, bro. Now, if you thought the roasting was over and the brain damage, no, we ain't done yet. Toyota's chair, Akio Toyoda, whose surname does ring a bell, does sound very much like the name of the company, and is because this incompetent moron is a descendant from a competent company founder. So again, Toyota's chair has predicted that demand for battery electric vehicles will hit a ceiling at 30% of the global market, opening the way for more hybrid sales. I just want to make sure everyone got that. This dipshit, Toyota's chair, previously the president of Toyota, he's on the record having predicted that electric vehicle sales will magically hit an invisible ceiling of 30% of all new vehicle sales, which obviously means that hybrids will suddenly become much more viable. Now, I would love to know the reasoning behind this magical 30% invisible ceiling. I suggest that this comment is possibly the result of severe brain damage and or hopium rather than anything else. As we can see on screen now, this is actual data of the global vehicle market. And what we're roughly looking at here is what percent of all vehicles sold based on revenue are in each price range. Vehicles over $100,000 represent a fraction of 1% of the vehicle market by revenue. Why would that be? Because most people can't afford a six-figure plus vehicle. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Please tell us more. Funnily enough, the same holds true of vehicles in excess of $75,000. Basically, nobody in percentage terms can afford these things. Funnily enough, with price points around $50,000, it's the same fucking story. A few percent if you're lucky. Even around $40,000. Not even 5%. But something incredible happens between, let's call it $40,000 and $25,000. Suddenly, a 10 times increase in addressable market, and more astonishingly still, from that $25,000 to call it maybe $18,000, $19,000, you reach the rest of the whole fucking goddamn market. Now, why am I sharing this? Well, here's the thing, Mr. Toyo Derp. Remember that whole 2010 thing where Tesla said Tesla's goal is to produce increasingly affordable electric vehicles? Yeah? And to relentlessly drive the cost down? Remember that? Yeah, great. Everyone following along? Great. Well, so back in 2010, this is literally where Tesla was with electric vehicles in terms of price points. Today, they're roughly here. Their next-gen vehicle is roughly here. They're doing what they said they were going to do. Now, Mr. Toyota, based on the fact that over the last decade and a half, roughly, Tesla's gone from here to here like they said they would, and this trend continues, in what possible reality would sales of electric vehicles, given the fact that the prices continue to come down over time and we're about to hit the real tipping point, would they magically hit a ceiling of just 30% of the vehicle market? You moron! And it is important to understand, folks. The internal combustion engine vehicle has been around for a little fucking century. A century. Most of the costs that could have been, no pun intended, driven out of the internal combustion engine have been. A lot of smart people have been working on these things, manufacturing these things, designing these things, improving these things, iterating for a century. It's a mature technology. The electric vehicle is still relatively new. There's a huge amount of innovation still to take place. And again, I cite the evidence that we have. Back in 2010, a relatively compelling, sufficient range electric vehicle could not be produced and sold to customers for anything less than 6 and a bit figures. Today, an equivalent vehicle is about $40,000. There's some proof, because if the internal combustion engine had the same ability for that much cost to be driven out, the average vehicle, internal combustion engine vehicle over that same time frame would have gone from about $40,000 to about $15,000. They haven't. Toyota's entire strategy at this point in time appears to be based on this idiotic assumption that electric vehicles are just going to tap out at 30% of the global market, in spite of all the evidence to the contrary. To suggest that this idiot, Akio Toyoda, has brain damage would be a massive understatement. Let's continue. Toyota's new engines will be between 10 and 20% smaller and will allow for greater output when paired with batteries. They are expected to be used first in hybrid cars and then plug-in hybrids, according to one person familiar with the matter. Quote, "This is in line with Toyota's strategy of spreading their bets across different technologies, like gigantic fucking weak sausage wallets." That's what's going on here, by the way. There's no leadership, there's no courage, there's nothing, there's no balls, there's no brains at Toyota, and not one person at the company in a position to make decisions or push back has said anything other than, yes, sir, great idea, sir. Let's spread our bets everywhere. Electric vehicles aren't inevitable. Good idea, sir. Yes, let's make hybrids and internal combustion and hydrogen and electric vehicle. That went from there. That's a good idea, man. The costs aren't coming down of electric vehicles. And yeah, great idea, sir. Good idea, sir. You're very smart, sir. Don't fire me, sir. By the way, they actually are pursuing 4 independent forms of propulsion right now. I'm not kidding. Toyota is spreading their resources almost evenly across internal combustion engines, hybrids, aka internal combustion engines with a battery in them, plus hydrogen full cell vehicles, plus electric vehicles. And again, the president of the company, who was recently demoted to chair Akio Toyota, has said out loud that he thinks that electric vehicles tap out at 30% of the market, which explains their strategy, right? Well, electric vehicles will only be 30, and what do you know? Hybrids will be about 30, and internal combustion engines will be about 30, and hydrogen will be about 10. Oh, look, that makes 100. Oh, I'm smart. Idiot. Hong said Toyota was, quote, basically developing small-sized engines for hybrids that can be mounted without modifying the design of their next-generation vehicles. Variants of the engines will be capable of running on diesel and petrol, as well as on lower... I just have to take a moment here, just in case you guys missed what's going on here. These absolute fucking morons are designing these engines in such a way that they don't actually need to re-engineer the vehicles specifically to be optimized at all. Instead, they can just slap them in whatever they want without having to do the hard work thinking of redesigning the next-gen vehicles. Lazy. Variants of the engines will be capable of running on diesel and petrol, as well as on lower emission or carbon neutral fuels, such as hydrogen or so-called e-fuel. This is part of a wider bet that alternative fuels made using electricity from renewable hydrogen and other gases will allow car makers to keep selling combustion engine vehicles that meet environmental regulations. Mazda and Subaru, both part-owned by Toyota, also unveiled prototype engines on Tuesday. Bro. Is this real life? Is this really June 2024? And a quick side note, when Toyota does go bankrupt and or collapse to a shell of its former self, this is going to completely fuck the Japanese economy. Anyone else get Kodak vibes? Kodak president and or chair says, we believe that digital cameras will only ever account for roughly 30% of the photography business. Most consumers will prefer film cameras, and there'll be some consumers who would prefer a hybrid approach that has a film camera and also a digital camera all built in together. Or maybe some blockbuster vibes. We believe that online streaming will only ever account for about 30% of all content watched because some consumers love the convenience of having to get in their fucking car and drive all the way down to a fucking store to look through a tiny piddly little selection of films and then get charged obscene late fees if they forget to or are unable to return them on time. Therefore, definitely online streaming will max out at 30%, and we are in fact going to be continuing to invest in building out our physical stores because we know they're going to be around for a long time to come. Toyota will eventually learn a lesson. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. Plus, has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. And I haven't missed a daily video in more than 3 years. Must be a coincidence, right? Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. But don't take my word for it. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. By the way, viewer, that makes 2 of us. On to the next. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. This viewer's been taking AG1 for 8 months and says, what an investment. Another. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR or I can keep going. Plenty more to come. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. If you're still skeptical, hey, I don't blame you. Everyone on the planet seems to be promoting AG1 now, but guess what? They weren't nearly 3 years ago when I had this to say privately to my Patreon audience before there was a relationship, when I was asked about what I was doing for my health, energy, and so on. Just sharing my genuine, honest thoughts about a product I'd recently discovered that was at the time called Athletic Greens, now AG1. If I could only recommend one supplement to take, Athletic Greens, and I'm not getting paid to say this, Athletic Greens is a fucking game changer. I cannot believe how effective this is. No longer having a lack of energy in the afternoons. It's fucking amazing. There's only one thing to recommend seriously. Try Athletic Greens. You won't go back. So obviously, just like Elon Musk is a liar, a fraud, a con man, a scammer, a fake engineer, and Tesla's going bankrupt, you shouldn't trust that guy from about 3 years ago who, without any financial incentive, was promoting this product to his audience on Patreon when they were asking about health and what he's doing for supplements. Because obviously, there was some other reason he recommended that, obviously. Not sure what it was, but don't trust that guy. And all the testimonials, like my mental game's improved with AG1. I feel better than ever. I'm so impressed I've bought it for both my parents. I feel more focused and have better digestion. Incredible difference. No more afternoon fatigue. It's relieved gut issues. These are all just obviously fake testimonials from fake people. Right? Wrong. Just try it. Unless you hate yourself. If you hate yourself and you don't even want to risk possibly feeling better, this is not for you. But for everyone else, what's the worst that could happen? Try it for a month. See how you feel. It's a no-brainer. Just click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. And you'll take the colossal risk that maybe you might have a similar experience to some of the people whose testimonials we've read in this video.